Hello everybody, so we're back with the Icebreaker series, broadcasting this time from Dover, Delaware at the Monster Mile. Apologies for not being here for a while, but unfortunately we did have some things come in the way, personally with me, because I am typically the one who runs these broadcasts, and I was suddenly having to work until closing for the past 2.5, almost 3 months. But we are back now, for at least the foreseeable future. And as you can see, they are having some fun right now, running about 3 wide, and that's about what you should expect tonight. The lead car will be good on the outside line. I'm actually going to hop out on the track for a little bit since we have a few minutes left of practice and actually show y'all how the car handles. It actually handles really, really well, like a dream. As you can see, Chris Parkman there, the third car on the inside line. Look at how close he gets. Bump, and that can actually be disastrous. I found out in the practice session, so hopefully that all goes well. But why don't we go ahead and hop out onto the track real quick and see how that goes. Alright, so this will be fun, guys. Let's go have some fun out here on the track, shall we? And there goes that pack going by right there. So you will be hearing my wheel. I am on push to talk, but I'm going to be holding it down as much as I can for this so that you can hear me talking and running you through how everything's feeling and how the car goes. Tires are cold at the beginning, as always with these cars. Let's go ahead and accelerate. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get to the high line here, run a few laps, let Alex and just let these two guys go by. And just pull in behind them and let them just kind of draft on them a little bit, show you how the car feels, and you can even hear the wheel react so you know exactly how it's feeling out there, because you don't get accurate stuff from the readings that iRacing gives when you're spectating other drivers. You have to actually be that client to know how it feels. If you notice, 6th gear has some really low RPMs, so you can get right up on top of people. These cars do like to suck up, for those who aren't used to seeing that, and you can kind of, and I'm kind of half throttling, or 3/4 throttling it right there. Just kind of letting the car go, not really pushing it, just trying to show what to do, what you're going to have to see these guys dealing with in the race, because you can see how quickly I'm gaining up on Alex here in the 30, who, by the way, is the league owner. And you can kind of just, and then you kind of see he got a little loose there. He hit the apron, which actually usually doesn't create much of a difference. But if I can get up on top of him here, you can watch what I do going into turn 3. I want to see if I can do it. And no, he's not going to let it. Okay, so I'm going to get to the inside of him here, and I should be able to hold the inside all the way around the corner and all the way around the track. And basically just kind of holding, you hear the wheel kind of pop, pop, pop every so often. And that was not a square contact, Alex. That was not square contact. So yeah, he tried to bump me and he didn't hit me perfectly even. He kind of hit me at a crooked, and it almost cost all of us our cars. But as you can see, I'm able to hold this inside line all the way around the corner. It does affect my speed a little bit, but it does stop people from taking that fast line and getting past me unless they're able to team up and push each other on that outside line in the second groove, which is definitely possible, but it is very difficult to do. As you noticed, Johnny there, he had to slow up for the other car, but I kind of looked away there to see the time. But you can kind of see we're 3 wide right now. Usually not smart to do, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to unmute in-game chat real quick so we can hear what they're like.
Outside.
Don't know if it unmuted or not.
5-4. Still out there.
But
Outside clear.
I don't think it actually did. But as you can see, I'm flooring it all the way around. I'm in 5th gear, but I'm hitting low RPMs. They're on my outside, but don't know if they'll be able to make the pass or not. They might beat me coming off the corner a little bit, but I'm kind of hitting the apron a little bit to try and give them enough room up there in case they're pressuring me. I don't know if they are, because I'm not in VR. But it is pretty neat. It handles really well, so, and I'm going to try to pull off if I can going into turn 3 here, and go back into spectates. And I'm going to pull off here. And this is stuff that I like to do. I kind of like to show like laps around the track with the car. because I really like the way this car handles, so I feel it's fun to do that. I'm just going to pull off and park it here, and as you can see the logo right there on the nose of the car right at the antenna, and I'll go ahead and hop out. Gonna see if I can get it to the point where he was right behind me. So this is basically watching from him. I want to see if we catch the well, I might have to wait a little bit because this okay, so here it is where I'm behind him. You can kind of see my car right up on him. And as we go into the corner, I'm low. You see him kind of react. See someone, Johnny, on his outside there. We're coming off turn 4. He gets in back behind me, and you can see I'm holding that line down there as best as I can. He comes up, he hits me, bump just ever so slightly. As you can see, it was going right to left, which caused our cars to twitch the way they did. But it twitched in a way that, fortunately, didn't mess us either up. So it was definitely interesting. So yeah, that was basically an idea, just so y'all have just some type of idea of what it would be like for these guys in the car going around this track. It's 125 laps tonight. That's 125 miles, because hence the name. This is the Monster Mile. Right now, as far as I'm aware, I'm the only guy that's going to be up in the broadcast booth. So yeah, and here you can go. You can see 6 of these guys just running there. Johnny Antonucci's the 3rd car in line. I don't know who all these guys are. I have not seen half of these guys before, I will be completely honest. But yeah, right now I just have it on the grandstand camera. This is one of the custom camera packs that someone made. Even though I didn't call it out during the race control, who is Sam Cooper Bennett tonight, he will penalize if they do not call that they're going to pit in. We had a little contact there, because you have to call. I believe it is by the exit of turn 2, and you have to hit the apron going into 3. And there's a wreck because of the back. And that right there, is an example of what the bad contact does.
Because they got upwing.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I was going to say a 21 bump manner, and I just wasn't going to let that go, so I figured shit on it.
So yeah, I figured I'd let y'all hear that a little bit, talk to them, and let them know that they help get y'all a view of what it really looks like when something bad happens. So as the time is ticking down, we have a minute and a half left in the practice. Right now, Mike Erder has the fastest lap with a 23.735. To give you an idea, my fastest lap while I was out there just a little bit ago was a 24.296. Granted, I was in front for most of that, and they're probably drafting a little bit more than I was. And I was 20th fastest. This is a pretty nice sized field. You take Sam, Cooper Bennett, and myself off, and it's a 22 car field, which is really nice. Considering a couple of them look like they're not actually in here, it might be smaller than that, but that's still a really good turnout for this track. Dover is actually really fun to drive, though. Fuel mileage looked like we're going to be running about a 4 pit stop race. I'm not entirely sure, but it was telling me 25 laps. Shouldn't need to change tires, because anybody who knows these cars, changing tires on these things is a pain, because it takes forever to do. Because I'm on push to talk, there might be areas where I'm quiet because I'm correcting stuff on my computer. Like if I'm doing any clicks, I will make sure to have my mic uncued, so not cued, so that you can, so that you don't hear the clicks on my mouse or my keyboard if I have to type. And there's my keyboard and my mouse flashing white, which means it's the end of the session. So here we go. It's going to be qualifying. Let's see how this turns out for everybody. Just cycling through everything real quick. So this right here is a pretty neat little tool that ATVO has. It tells us who the current leader is, how many laps the race has been completed, how many laps are left, how many lead changes even, so that we can know that. Man, why can't we race to the infield? That'd be neat. There's a whole infield track too. And then, of course, how many cautions for the number of laps as well. So these guys, it's a 10-minute qualifying session. The first 5 minutes are meant for qualifying, with the second half of it meant for the race for the drivers' meeting, which I will unmute so that Sam can get the floor for that. I will specify that people who choose to fuel burn for the first 5 minutes, and then they do their qualifying laps for the final 5 minutes. As far as I know, we don't have anything in store to penalize those people, but they will have to deal with qualifying while people are talking, because once the first half of the first 5 minutes of qualifying are done, people are allowed to talk again once because of the drivers' meeting, and then after the drivers' meeting, people are free to chat up until race time. There is that. You have to deal with people chatting in your ear if you choose to wait until the final half of the qualifying to burn off some fuel to try and get some good laps. I believe it's 4 laps of qualifying, as always, for the league, for ISL competition. Let's see what lap times we're having so far. So as you can see now, unfortunately this will only let me show it like this. I don't have any way to show you differently. I could load up some racing apps and have it pop up that way, but basically here our fastest lap so far, as you just saw. Chris Parkman just took the #1 spot right now at 24.490. Ethan Glenn at a 24.493 is in second place. We have 17 cars who have taken qualifying laps so far, with still plenty there to qualify. And right now the lap times are looking the same. I think we pretty much had everybody run all their laps since it's 25 seconds. I mean 25 or fewer seconds to run your laps. Yeah. So as you can see with all the numbers and everything, we are actually working on getting custom numbers for people like, as you can see down there, Michael Whitaker, Mike Erder, who don't have numbers, or even people like Chris Parkman who use their own color numbers, and then like myself, it has some random one up there for 61. Basically, people would get their own number to pop up here for this broadcast for the other one. We're trying to get that set up for Tony to be able to use as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to unmute. I know it's just now under 6 minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to unmute the game chat so that when the drivers meeting starts, we can hear that.
I will have to check.
I looked at it earlier, but I can't remember.
It does look like we may have missed it.
We are at Iowa next week.
All right, cool.
Remaining races on the schedule are Iowa, Thompson, Milwaukee Mile, and finally Indianapolis for the finale.
You're not racing out?
No, I'm racing.
I didn't see you on there. When did you qualify?
Alex likes to stay at the back at qualifying. He likes to start at the back and work his way forward. All right, guys, 5 minutes are up. So typically for those of you who are new, this is when we do our little pre-race meeting. I know people got a little chatty beforehand. Want to thank you guys for coming out tonight. Great to see some new names and some older names in there. Pretty good mix. Great field for what's been a really fun track to run and practice. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Big thing is just be aware of all those around you. It's a long race, 125 laps. Race is being broadcasted by Forrest. Make sure you guys thank him. I would be up there with him, but I got family over, so if I suddenly pull over, forgive me. You know, I'm really not supposed to be racing right now. Other than that, make sure you guys listen to Sam, claim your cautions, and let's have some fun. Long race. Stay safe.
All right, guys, you know the rules. Well, for the new people, these are the rules that you should listen to and adhere to. No flaming, that is strongly discouraged. No arguing with race control, that is also strongly discouraged. No scrubbing of tyres. Entering pit road entrance, as most people will know, is between 3 and 4. So when you call in the pits, call it as early as possible, possibly on the front stretch by the start-finish line. If you cause a caution, you will be EOL'd. However, if you cause a caution and it causes somebody to tow, then a black flag may be brought into effect. Other than that, there's not really much else to say. Just have a safe race for the new guys. Just keep calm and enjoy yourselves out there. And yeah, let's have a good race. I'll be watching.
Also, I'm proud to announce that official after Tuesday, the ISL has renewed our sponsorship with Bill Roberts and RobertsTechJobs.com, effective for the next 2 seasons for the IRO5 as well as next season. So, want to thank Bill for making all of this possible. It's awesome that we were able to do this. So, everybody thank Bill Roberts when you see him.
Yeah, Ethan, I'm gonna make sure it's archived. I'm gonna have it set to record.
You streaming as well, Tyler?
Yep, I'm gonna start the recording section for when we all start grading up. But yeah, I've got it live streamed right now on Twitch.
Alright, cool, because my dad wants to watch it after the race.
Yeah, at least then if like some kind of big wreck happens, it's like you at least have another point of view of some of the wrecks that happen, because there's been a couple of times in other series that I've been in, I've seen some wrecks, crazy wrecks from the back, especially if I'm in the back still.
Well, the crazy wreck that happened on Tuesday?
Oh man, I'm so mad I didn't record that, because there were some. Oh man, my reaction was that was yeah.
Like one car clearing the catch fence, the floodlights in the stands altogether?
Yeah, I saw those in general. I got real scared when I saw especially when I saw 4 cars flying in the air in front of me. Yeah, that kind of yeah.
I think it was me hitting into the back of Alex that caused Alex to punt Josh and caused him to go flying like he did.
Oh jeez.
What is heat streaking?
Heat what?
Alright, so race is about to begin. I let that go a little bit longer because I was trying to get a quick snack in before the race. As you can see, the time just ticked over. It's going into the race now, and we'll be gridding up. We'll put it on Christopher Parkman here. Chris Parkman is our race leader to start this one out. As our pole sitter has gridded up here, and I believe because this is 1 mile, we're only going to have 1 pace lap. As you can see, there's our field lining up. It's a pretty nice field we have out here tonight. Looks like we have 22 cars currently gridded up. To make that 23, we just had the 23rd grid up. And of course, Sam and myself. So if we have the last one, if we have number 24 grid up, that'll be everybody, because of Sam and myself being broadcast and race control, not in that particular order. And as you see, it just ticked over to lap 0 of 125, so we'll be pulling out of the pits any second now, and this will be an interesting race to watch. I remembered when we ran the one of the first recruitment races in these cars before the first season. It was a 50 lap race, and we had a fuel tank set to where it actually lasted 49 laps. I did not know that. I was in the lead. I had the pole, and I led the first 49 laps. Ran out coming off of turn 4. Coming off turn 4, going to 1 to go. And well, sputtered. There was still enough in there to get me around. So there's our field there, and it does do that auto switch. That was something that's on this camera feed, so it will do that on its own. But I'm using this one. This one doesn't have the best camera angles. the other one that I have does, but it doesn't allow us to do stuff like rear chase and chase cameras for cautions to get a really good look at what happens. Who's in that number 12? That is Nate Dean. As you can see, Ethan Glenn is on Parkman's outside, and here we go. We're coming off of turn 4. Parkman is the one to pull the trigger. Let's see what happens.
Green flag.
And here he is. Green flag is out. As you heard the random in-game spotter still sound. And outside just does not get going as we see them all just flying down into turn 1. And you can see there's about 2 or 3 wide. Let's go back here and let's watch these battles this week. Oh, let's go back a little bit further if you're going to do that. And you can see we got some action here. We are on board right now with Cohen Evans as he is right there on the tail end of David Llewellyn and almost gets into him, but he lays off enough to stay off his back bumper. And look at this coming off. Man, they are doing really well keeping it clean. We are 3 wide here as we look at it. It's Mike Whitaker, Stephen Thomas, and I can't tell who the other one was in that battle. But man, this is really interesting battles. We're just watching them all side by side going through the corners here. Not a lot of people hugging that bottom line right now as we see Nate Dean up here in second, bobbing onto the apron a little, trying to get a little bit of a gap underneath of Parkman in the 20, but Parkman's doing a real good job of not giving enough room down there. And we can see him going 3 wide, and there is someone wrecking back there in the back.
How was your forward drive there towards the end of that little run we
Let's
just
see
did?
who that was. And that was Eric Roberts. Okay, so he's number 28, so let's pull that up. So here's Eric Roberts here. I might have gone back a little bit too far, but let's see what happens to him. He's running on the outside. Who's that on his inside there? That is the number 2 of Jason Colburn, and then that's Johnny Antonucci. And then 46 and 43. And then, they tried to fit it 4 wide, and yep, just slight contact there. I don't know who's going to be to blame for that one, I'm going to be honest. Whoops. So let's see what the 43 saw here. He gets up high. He starts. There's Johnny Antonucci. Let's see if I can get it onto a better camera angle here. Right. Well, man, this might not be. That's not perfect. Yeah, here we go. The gyro cam. So as we can see, he's going through. He's right behind him, right behind Eric Roberts. He sees a gap. He goes down there. Eric Roberts gets a run on the 117. Doesn't know that there was a guy that was in, 2 guys that was inside, and so there was no room, and the caution just fell at that point. And so that was the caution for that one. They just tried to force too many people into one little tiny spot there. There's enough to go 3 wide, but not 4 wide with these cars. They're good enough handling that they can go the 3 wide, but we have not seen them successfully go 4 wide yet. 3 wide, as you saw, they can do, depending on the drivers that are doing it and where the tires are at. So that was a few laps that we went there. So let's hope that we can have a little bit longer run than that. It was some pretty intense racing for those few laps there, and ooh, my throat's already getting dry. So it looks like Layla Wilson did not grid out, so we only had a 23 car field to start tonight. And so right now, our top 5 is Christopher Parkman, David Llewellyn, Nate Dean, Cohen Evans, and Michael Whitaker. First, second, I believe Nate Dean as well, and then Michael Whitaker in 5th. I know for a fact first, second, and 5th are some of our big leaguers in the IRO5s and DW12s. Don't know, I think Nate Dean is as well, but I haven't seen him run a whole lot of races. Cohen Evans, of course, is a new name to me. And then rounding out our top 10, we have Ethan Glenn, Stephen Thomas, Jason Colburn, Mike Ritter, and Johnny Antonucci. I know Ethan Glenn is definitely new to the Icebreaker Series this season, and Stephen W. Thomas is, but Jason Colburn, Mike Ritter, and Johnny Antonucci, I believe, are all ISL veterans. But I don't think all of them have run in the big cars, but they all have run at least in these cars in the first season as well. The lights are still on the pace car. Do they go off when we hit the line? No, and they go off, so we're at 1 to green. And we're going to have Chris Parkman and David Llewellyn in the front row. David Llewellyn being our the first Elite Invitational winner back about a month ago. That was 1 week after our last season. And what's going on the outside up there? That's kind of bizarre. Oh, okay, they're trying to get everything sorted out. I got it. Okay, that makes sense. But let's hope that they all get everything lined up, because they're coming around the track and we're going to see some more green flag racing. I'm going to put it on board with, let's get it to Mike Whitaker here. And oh wait, forgot to put it back on the broadcast, so let's go ahead and get back on the broadcast cameras and have it focused on Mike Whitaker, but the cameras are set to the group and not to car, so it should focus on a pack if they're all together in the center of the pack, because it seems to be pretty smart about that. But it will do stuff like this where it gets on the front camera of one car. And yeah, Nate Dean is part of NLR. Okay, that's why the name is familiar, because he's got the MGD on his car. And here we go. They're coming off turn 4. Parkman on the inside, David Llewellyn on the outside. Here they go. Parkman guns it, and they are off. As you see the view off the rear end of Mike Whitaker's car as they dive down into turn 1. And you can see how the 62 just doesn't keep up with them as they go down to the corner. We're on board with the gyro cam here as we watch them come off the corner, and you can kind of see the banking and how it changes from the corner to the straight stretch as they dive down into the corner. And they're not racing as hard this time. It's not as tight of racing. They've all kind of fanned out this time. They're not forcing anything, which granted is smart. You don't want to be forcing this early in the race. It's 125 laps, and we're not even to the 1/5 mark yet, which is 25 laps. We're not even there yet, which is amazing considering how fast these laps are here. As we see him going around the track, and Mike Whitaker gets passed by the 62 of Stephen Thomas, and he kind of likes running that outside line. He likes to stay up there, and we almost had another wreck. Whitaker reacts and almost comes down into another guy. And as you can see there, the Red Bull car got a little bit tight going into the corner. He probably started turning in a little later than he should have, but no harm, no foul in that instance, because no one was close enough to him for that slide up the track to make any difference. As you can see, we are side by side now all the way back. While we fanned out early on, these cars have such a good pull and aero that they all just caught right back up to each other, and we were 3 wide for a second going down into turn 1. And man, look at all the cars right here. We have 1st to 13th are all within a second. 1st through 12th are all within 1 second of each other. That's how close these guys are racing. As you can see, they are 3 wide going through 3 and 4 there. And the fact that these cars, you don't have to let up a whole lot on the inside, if at all. As a matter of fact, I never had to when I was behind a car or on the inside of somebody. That you can just run the 3 wide. It works. I mean, granted, the 2nd and 3rd lanes each respectively get less and less momentum, but if you're like those 2 guys on the outside there, where you have a little bit of a push, you can move up. Alex Green is car number 30, not 32, and we had a wreck coming off of turn 4 there. So I'm going to put us on Nate Dean here. Let's see what happens. He gets on the apron. He's on the apron, on the apron, on the apron. And everything looks good so far. Oh, David Llewellyn got spun. He got bumped just the wrong way. Trying to find David Llewellyn. There it is. Can't get the car number behind him. I'm trying to grab the car behind him. As you can see, he just gets that little tiny tap and just spun around. and it's Jason Colburn. So let's see what Jason Colburn sees from his point of view coming off turn 4. So here you go, let's go back a little bit further. So here we are, they're coming off turn 2. You can see he's definitely getting really close in his PHWare car. He's being really, really close to the back bumper of the Llewellyn. He gets just into the wrong spot and makes that light bit of contact and just wrecks them both and completely destroys the front end of his car, ruining a couple good cars in that wreck. And it looks like David Llewellyn, for some reason, is trapped behind the pace car. But yeah, whoever that is in the chat, Alex Green is in car number 30, 3-0, not 3-2. As you can see, he's actually recording him in 3rd place, but even though he's the 4th car in line, but he is in 3rd place right now. Go Lee Gunner. As we see Chris Parkman still in the lead in the 20 car. And there goes David Llewellyn's car. The engine just gave out. He was trying, I know, to limp it back, get the wave around to get back on the lead lap and then pit. But the engine just did not want to go there, so he's going to have to use a quick repair and take the lap down, unfortunately. At least now they're I've noticed the incidents so far. I'll be honest, the people I've noticed making mistakes, I didn't see run a ton of laps in practice. They ran some in the 30-minute before this, and granted, I wasn't at the whole hour-long session, but I've noticed that they weren't running as many laps as some of the other guys, like Parkman, like Mike Whitaker does, like the people who are usually doing really well in this league, or there are people, of course, who have run lots of laps. They're mistakes that if you haven't run a whole lot, you didn't run a whole lot of practice laps with a pack or around other cars, you wouldn't know how the car is going to do or what the car will do when you make that little tiny tap on the back just slightly off. It's kind of like what you got to do with the IndyCar that we run in the 2 big series. You got to try and do, I feel, more of the aero push with it. Just kind of push the car with the air that's coming off yours. Push them in front of you like that. That's what I do with the IRO 5. I did it on Tuesday night before I unfortunately had a pit mishap. I was right there with Alex, and Chris Bouchard was doing that. Whereas these cars, they do have a little bit more suck-up, so I don't know how well that works with these cars as well as the W12s, which have a lot of suck-up as well. Especially at a track like this where it's concrete, where it's not a flat straightaway, where it's so short of a straightaway because it's a mile-long track. And if I recall, the straightaways are a quarter-mile each, and the turns are a quarter-mile each. So you're running a quarter of the track literally in each section. So the straightaway front stretch is 1/4 of the track. Turns are 1/4. The back stretch is 1/4 of the track, and then turns 3 and 4 are the final quarter of the track. And as you can see, the lights off are on the pace car. They're lining up double file. And why don't we hop on board the league owner here when we go green and just watch him going around here as we go green. So as you can see right now, they're at 45 miles an hour in our league owner Alex Green here in the Home Depot Husky Coca-Cola Mazda car. Pace car is going to pull down in a second. And we're going to see when does Chris Parkman drop the hammer, and he has to wait until the pace car crosses that line on pit road. It has, so he can go at any time at this point. Let's see when he decides to take it. There he goes. Alex Green responds well, and watch his speed climbing up. You can hear him shifting into gear. And he's able to maintain 3rd. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to maintain 2nd, as the 43 is able to keep it. And he gets a little tight going in the corner, it looks like. Let's see what he does as we come around. We'll ride along with him for a few laps. And they're going to the high line, which is bizarre. Maybe trying to save the tires a little bit, knowing that running the inside all the way does burn them up a little bit more. And we see them, you see how much they suck right back up to Chris Parkman. Alex Green goes to the outside with the 43. You can hear him kind of feathering the pedal a little bit. Trying to keep it, I believe someone's on his inside because I can hear him on the left. There they are. And look at this, he gets that little bump, and see, Alex has done, he's up and he did it, yep. He said he had learned how to do that. He's the one that pumped us on the track, and he caused a really bad one there. I don't believe we need to watch a replay on that one, do we, boys? That one was pretty self-explanatory. I'm gonna hag on him a lot considering he said that he learned how to do that bump just right. We will watch that real quick though. So we're gonna get on board with the 14 here because he made it through this mess, and we want to see exactly what he does. And so he just goes to the high side and he gets through it. Let's go a little bit further back. Let's go on board with Mike Erder in the 117, see what he saw. And look at this mess that he just sees right in front of him, and he just brakes and makes it right through. Good moves by those guys to make it through that mess that we'll see. That was a cluster of chickens. I'll say it that way. How about that? Pretty sure everybody knows what I mean on that one. But that one does fall on league owner Alex Green. Just got into the back of the 43 there just a little bit too much and at the wrong time, and yeah, it didn't end well for anybody on that one. It looked like that one was a pretty big pileup. It took a few of our league veterans out of that one and put them to the back. But that's good because then we get some of the young blood in here. It looks like the 14 might be pitting. It does look like he has some rear wing damage. Not sure if that's just the pixels causing a little bit of distortion. But yeah, that was definitely interesting. We got to watch it right as it happened. So that's what he did to me in practice, where it didn't end poorly, but that time unfortunately he didn't hit him at the right time in the right place of the car. So here we going around. We right now in our top 5 now after that big wreck. It's Ben Walton, James Scatina, Drew Guy Carly. I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names. Dave Daniel and Michael Whitaker, who are still remaining up there in the front despite all these wrecks happening right there near him. Mike Whitaker doing a really good job. Tyler okay, they're switching up. I'm trying to figure out how they are. For some reason it just put Alex Green at the front. I don't know why. But I'm going to keep going down the list. Robert Lacovara, Tyler Lugo Vickery, Michael Baker, Jose Olivas. I'm sorry, I can't say your name. I've never been able to, no matter how many times I'm told. And then Mike Erder is in 10th, because for some reason it's still showing Alex in the lead on my end, even though I know for a fact he's not. And on the ticker up there, it's not either. There it goes. Now it filtered him through now. As we are at 1 to green, here we go. I am not going to ride on board anymore. We have already had 3 cautions, and we're going to be going green with lap 24. I do believe this is the broadcaster's curse. We brought the cautions to this series. Granted, the first season when we broadcasted, they were actually really good at keeping it clean. And I'm going to be honest, I haven't been present for the other 10 races this season, so I don't know how well they're running. And I am going to run out of things to talk about, so I do apologize now. I'm already starting to run out of things to talk about, if you can't tell already. This is why I wish I had someone up here to talk to. Metaphorical up here. we're in TeamSpeak, so it's a digital place. And here we go. Ben Walton gets to decide when they go. When is he going to put it down? And there he goes, right as I say it. And look at the checkup on the inside line there. Everybody kind of fanning out because they did not expect him to do that. And I'll be honest, it's just like a Daytona and Talladega in the NASCAR. You don't want to get out to a big jump like that at a place like this. It is not going to work out in your favor. And let's go back to the back a little bit and see what's going on in the back of the field. As we have these guys back here running side by side from third back almost, and there's another caution out.
How was your forward drive there towards the end of that little run we just
Why is Chad talking? What the hell? Why am I getting Chad Canals talking to me? I'm not even on the track. So as we see Jason Colburn on the outside of David Llewellyn as they come off turn 2. Jason Colburn goes to the middle line, probably thinks he's clear, and he comes down on David Llewellyn and just wrecks himself. That one's, I'm going to be honest, is all on the number 2, which, if I am correct, might be his second? No, it's not his second. My bad. Not his second. So he should be allowed to get back out there once his car gets fixed up. So this is following a pretty close pattern to what Tuesday night was, where we ran the first 1/5 of the race full of cautions, but then from there on out we went completely green flag. Knock on wood that that's actually going to happen again. So right now, as you can see, Michael Whitaker is in the lead with James Scatina in second, Dave Daniel in third, Jose Olivas, I'm going to say that that's correct, in fourth, with Stephen W. Thomas in fifth. I will say, I am pretty sure James Scatina in second place runs road courses mostly because it says he's a rookie in the right license class, so he's definitely driven these cars, just probably not very much on the ovals since it says he's a rookie oval license. So I will definitely give, I'm pretty sure he's got someone that's vouched for him, but that kind of threw me off seeing the rookie thing. And he hasn't been doing anything bad. He's been running pretty clean from what I've seen. And he did go down pit road, so that puts A-license cars in the top 7 positions, which they are now. It's now Mike Whitaker, Dave Daniel, Jose Olivas, Stephen W. Thomas, Robert Lecovar in the top 5, with Chris Parkman, Mike Erder, Mike Baker, Cohen Evans, and Johnny Antonucci to round out the top 10. And I do believe at this point, I feel we are at 2 to green, because it's usually about 4 or 5 laps. We normally have enough time to look at the replay. And I believe we'll be going to the 1 to green this time by. My voice is getting a little scratchy, so I might have to take breaks every so often in the middle of this race to let my throat not dry out from all the talking, because I normally don't talk this much. We are already how far into this race? To be honest, I don't know. Roughly 30 minutes. And the lights do go off as we hit the 1 to green marker, and Mike Whitaker will be telling us when to go when we come back around on the track. So this is going to be an interesting start here. Let's hope they have a pretty long run. I want to see these guys have some green flag pit stops. Because I want to see how these guys handle it going into turn 3. Because I do recall, if I recall properly, in the IRO 5 and DW12 series, when they premiered at when they had their first race at Dover to end the regular season in the previous season for them in race number 20. Yeah, 20. It was really good. I mean, it was 200 laps. We didn't know how it was going to go with the Indy cars. And I will be honest, I'm pretty sure that race surpassed everybody's expectations for how it would go. Same with Iowa with the Iowa 5000 W12s. Those races were a blast in those cars, and I'm considering we're at Dover here this week, and then reportedly at Iowa next week with these cars. These cars are definitely fun to drive as well. They're more flat-footed around these tracks, though. And here we go. Mike Whitaker's going to set us, and you hear him hit the pedal there, and there they go. Everybody else reacted a little bit better to him, though, that time, so he doesn't get as much of a jump as Parkman or what they had before. Sorry, I cannot remember his name. But he does still have a little bit of a lead, so that might not work out in his favor, though. As we get on board with Mike Erder here back in the 7th place to see how he handles being back here in traffic. Now let's get on to one of these top 5 cars. We'll put it on Chris Parkman, who you can see is third car on the inside line there as they come around the corner and they head down into turn 1. They have hit 30 to get 30 laps into this race, or 29 in. We're on lap 30. Whoa, sorry about that. And you can see the outside line just is not getting going. You have to wait for the car in front of you to slip up just a little bit, and that's when you can make your move and get under them. Now, you don't want to force it until the end of the race, because if you force it too early in the race, it's going to do stuff like that. That one, I believe, was Parkman just trying to bump him. It looks like Parkman just tried to give a little bit of a bump, and it didn't go well. So hopefully we can have a green flag run eventually, though, guys. I apologize for all this. I feel it was pretty self-explanatory what happened there, so because we were we were watching Parkman when it happened, so won't do a replay on that. We know it was a bump and he just hit him the wrong way. I'm gonna go ahead and go mute for a second and get drink a little bit of something so that my throat doesn't kill me by the end of this race. Alright, so we're back to 1 to green, and this looks like it's going to be an interesting start here. Again, I keep saying it. Hopefully we can have a long green flag run here. I don't think my throat could take much more of this. Tony, I sympathize with how you felt on Tuesday night if you happen to be watching this. I definitely sympathize with that, because this is painful on the throat to have to talk this much when there's this many cautions. It slows the pace down way too much. Focusing on a car in the 3rd row, so it's in the middle of the pack. We're watching to see when Mike Whitaker is going to hit the gun as they coming off turn 4. Pace car dips down now. There he goes. It is on the pit road. Mike Whitaker can gun it when he wants. We listen. There he goes, and he has gunned it. You can hear the car just rev up as soon as they go by the camera there. He didn't get out at all on this restart. He has got right up on his gearbox there on the rear bumper. So go through 3 and 4. I mean 1 and 2. Wow. As you can see, they are really tight up here at the front. I'm hoping these guys have learned don't try the bump draft. Just a little bit. Don't try it. At least not yet. If you're going to try it, wait until we've had some green flag runs here. Get this race over with a little bit quicker. So we actually do have a time limit that we have to finish this race within. I think we have 2 hours or something like that. We've already used 30 minutes of it or something. And as we see, they go down to the corner. And wow. And there's another caution.
Like a protein tank or a bar or anything like that?
So here's the replay. We are in 1 and 2. He comes up, didn't know somebody was there. Just completely cut him off. I will be honest, I would completely put that on the 44 on that one. When these guys are racing clean, these are some good races we've seen. I just want to point out one thing. Tony says this a lot in Tuesday and Sunday broadcasts because I go back and watch them. Typically at work or just have them kind of playing in the background while I'm at work or when I get home. Situational awareness. You need to be aware of what's going on around you. If there's a car gaining on you on the outside, and it's most likely they will be there before your spotter can call them out there, do not go up to the outside. If there is a car in front of you and you know that bump drafting them going into the corner in any car is going to cause issues, please do not bump draft them, especially in these cars where it's not a flat end and not a flat back end, a flat back and front. It's just good. It's asking for disaster. That's why we're having these cautions. They're not thinking completely. I know it's in the heat of the moment. They're going about 150 miles an hour, but if you think about it for just a split second, you actually think about your action before you actually do it and drill it into your brain to not do it, we can have some good racing. But there being some very stupid mistakes that I know that these drivers do not normally make. These guys normally do a whole lot better than this. I don't know why these mistakes are being made. It happens on Tuesday and Sunday nights with us as well, with the big cars. Maybe it's just memory lapses, I don't know, but we need some better situational awareness here, guys. Come on, we're not even halfway. Sorry to go on that little rant, but yeah, I mean, it's my first race doing the broadcast back, and we've had more cautions in these 40 laps than we had in 4 races that I broadcast last season before I had to stop. We have more in this one than 4 total races together added up. I know there's a lot of new members, but I've seen these guys race. They're doing really well. They race clean for the most part. It's just making stupid mistakes that they know they shouldn't be doing stuff they know they shouldn't be doing. And again, it's stuff that we see on Tuesday and Sundays as well. It comes down to just practice. I'll be honest. That's something where we need more people to show up at the practices, but we know that real life comes in the way. I'm glad to see that everybody here has turned out. It would be nice, though, to see more people make it to the practice sessions, practice racing in the pack, so that you know what not to do in the practice. I'm going to go ahead and stop on that rant now before I get too far into it, because I'm guilty of it too. I made a few stupid mistakes Tuesday night. None of them caused a caution, but they were still stupid mistakes that you wouldn't want to make. It happens to everybody. And I go down the running order right now again. Mike Whitaker, Dave Daniel, Cohen Evans, Robert Lacavara, Tyler Lugo Vickery are your top 5, with Mike Erter, Ben Walton, James Scatina, Mike Baker, and Stephen Thomas rounding up the top 10, with our top 2, Mike Whitaker and Dave Daniel, and then 4th place, Robert Lacavara. They've been out there for 26 laps. Granted, all these fuel laps have probably extended them up into almost 40 laps that they can go on this tank, but, oh, we're not live. I'm going to leave it on the blimp for a little bit. Gives us a different angle of what's going on here. Let's just see some different stuff that's happening. Go back here and watch some of these guys in the back. Look at how close these guys are getting. I mean, you can see the leaders up there still, so this camera will work pretty well. You can see these guys racing hard. You can see Parkman there racing behind Johnny Antonucci. You got Mike Baker in the yellow and black, and David Gervais is in the red, yellow, and black, which, if I had to guess, might be McDonald's. I can't read it from up here in the blimp, but that's what it looks like. And we see those guys are up there side by side racing for the lead. We'll put it up here and we'll watch these guys for a minute. If you notice, the guys in the back there, those 4 cars, are actually catching up to the leaders because of how much pull these cars have from aero. Look at that. Look at that. David Gervais just pulled right up to James Scatina in that Red Bull car like it was nothing. And you see a few guys back here on the back there. Everybody's kind of pulling back together. So we get spread out at the early run, but then we start getting tight. And look at what they're doing back here right near Chris Parkman and Mike Baker. They're kind of getting little touch and go there, and you can kind of hear where they're slightly letting off going through the corner. It's actually a little interesting. I'm not used to hearing that. It might just be the just sound effects going around here. Yeah, they're not letting off. That's just the sound effects. We watch him going around. Mike Whitaker leading this. Don't know how much longer he'll be able to stay out there, as we are on lap 46 of 125 here at Dover, the Monster Mile. I guess I'll go ahead and plug real quick that this race is brought to you, as you heard before the race, the sponsorship for the league. Oh, Johnny. Oh. And this series, as well as our 2 main series, are brought to you by RobertTechJobs.com, which is owned by one of our league's very own Bill Roberts. He does tech jobs in the Midwest, so if you have any type of job you need done, just give him a call and let him know that the ISL sent us your way. Let him know that we sent you his way. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. As you see, who was that again? Gervais just kind of got a little bit high in the corner and went backwards a few spots. Don't know what happened there. He might have had to let off. Oh, we have a little bit of contact there with the 43 and Gervais, and there's more contact. He has some damage to his wing from that contact. That's definitely not good for him. As everybody stays going, we're still green. It's almost contact on the outside. Alex Green's moving up through there, but unfortunately for him, he is 2 laps down, 1 lap behind the next car, which is weird because I don't see anybody as 1 lap down. But he is 2 laps down in 17th place, but he is sitting up there in the battle, like racing with the top 10 cars. I guess he's trying to earn it back the hard way. I mean, if you're going to try and do it, you're going to do it He's going to have to do it that way. And there's a wreck. I heard the cars hitting the wall. And, oh, come on, Alex. Come on. Let's go see if we can find out what that was. As we ride along Mike Baker here, as we're going down into turn 3, he lets off a little bit, gets a bump from Gervais, and we have, oh, what the hell just happened there? What in... Okay, so let's see what happens up in front here, because we see what happens to the 43. That is the 43, right? Yeah, 43 dips down, and just causes, he just causes a mess. Yeah, him suddenly ducking down like that, I don't think he actually caused the caution. That if he didn't call to go down pit road, that will be on him because he did make a sudden dive. So I personally don't think he called it. But that is for race control to decide because we don't hear that. We wouldn't have heard him make the call since that's muted. As Mike Whitaker and everybody else who had been out there for 20 plus laps have, except for the guy who's in the lead right now, James Katina, they have all dipped down onto pit road. As Alex Green has been out there for 18 laps on his stint, but you can see him up there right behind the pace car wanting to get that wave around. So yeah, you got Alex Green, and I believe that is, no, that's not who that is. I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of confused with what's going on with these cars here. I don't know what's going on here. Because it says Johnny Antonucci's second, but there's 3 cars in front of him. I know one's Alex Green. I know one of those is James Katina. But I don't know who the other car is because, oh, that might, no, that's not Mike Baker. That might, oh, that's Jose Olivas. Okay, that's the 87 car. Just had to sit there and figure that one out. Had to look at the whole sheet. So we passed the 50 lap mark, and let's take a quick look at our race summary. So far, through 51 laps completed, we have had 4 lead changes and 7 cautions for 23 laps. That's almost half the race so far. We've had about 4 or 5 good, decent runs. That one I think was about 6 or 7 laps. But we're still almost averaging a caution. We're almost averaging 1 caution lap to 1 race lap, which is not good at all. Because right now that gives us 23 and 28. Yeah, 23 and 28. That gives us 28 green flag laps right now with 23 caution. We're going to probably hit about 25, 26, maybe 27 caution flag laps before we go green, which still gives us more at the moment, green flag laps than caution laps. But still, being that close to 50% on how many caution flag laps have been run is pretty insane. That one was not a situational awareness one. That one looked like just a failure to communicate, I think, on that one. And just everybody reacting to one car diving out of the way and off the track surface. I believe he may have done that because his car was not reacting well to the contact he had just a couple laps earlier, where it messed up Gervais. And we must be on 1 to green as I'm hearing the cars going to wave around, and yeah, there you go. Oh, so yeah, so Johnny's the second one there. James Katina is in the blue car there. The red car is Ronald McManus. 4th place up on the outside there is Mick Woods, and 5th place is Mike Whitaker. Rounding out the top 10 will be Dave Daniel, Robert Lacovara, Mike Erder, Cohen Evans, and Stephen Thomas. I will give props to Stephen Thomas, Cohen Evans, and Tyler Lugo Vickery. They have all been up there at the front doing really good jobs of trying to stay out of everything. I know they've gotten involved. I think almost everybody's been involved in something at this point. But those 3 I've noticed are names that are new to me, at least. And I've noticed they've been doing a really good job getting through this. So props to those guys. Props to our veterans who are doing well too, proving that they're veterans in the league for a reason. So right now we're at 24 and 28. and we will have 25 caution flag laps when we go green. So here we go. And I'll leave the top 5 up for now and put the ticker away. So here we go, and wow, the leader jumps out to a huge jump there. And we know, I can tell you right now for a fact, Alex Green wants a caution to come out so he can get back on the lead lap. He's 1 lap down. He's been out there for 22 laps. He needs a caution to come out really quick. Let's see, Mike Whitaker, Ronald McManus, and Johnny Antonucci all there racing for 2nd through 4th. Ronald McManus has raced in the big cars before. He doesn't do it very often. I don't think he's done it recently either. But he is one of our league regulars for sure. As you can see, Dave Daniel there in the black car passing underneath Ronald McManus, and McManus is falling back as he gets trapped on the outside, which at this track, if you haven't noticed already, is kind of like being trapped in the middle at the super speedways in the NASCAR series. You just lose all momentum and just fall backwards. Johnny Antonucci jumps to the outside. Did he lead that lap? Yeah, he did have the lead for a split second there. I don't know if he got the lap or not. As they come around the corner, Johnny has lost his momentum. Mike Whitaker to his inside now, as we see him 3 wide back there in the back, and there is another caution flag, and there is the caution that Alex Green needed if he wasn't involved in that.
Earl, you sure you got your release mark?
And it looks like he was, but he is able to drive it. He won't get the lucky dog, though. That's the downside. So let's see what happens here. And they just make contact right in front of him. It's the 24 of Tyler Luca Vickery and the 82 of Mike Baker getting into contact there. And just collecting Alex because he had nowhere to go. I kind of feel bad for him because he was 1 lap down. He was going to get back on the lead lap if the caution came out and he was clean. But it just didn't look like it was to be. And James Scatino will probably be on pit road this time by, as he's been out there for 30 laps. And did Johnny Antonucci stay out? Johnny Antonucci does stay out this time. As you can see, that actually puts the last pit stops up on the board, so you can see what everybody's fastest pit stops were last time they were out. You can see Thomas is going up. I didn't know that we had that, I'm going to be honest. That's something I didn't know this thing had. Learned something new. So right now, this is our top 10 running order. You got Johnny Antonucci, Mike Whitaker, Dave Daniel, Mike Erder, and Ronald McManus, all league veterans. And then Robert Lecovara, Cohen Evans, Christopher Parkman, Ethan Glenn, and Stephen W. Thomas rounding out the top 10. So 7 of the first 8. Cohen Evans being the only one who is not a league regular in the 2 big series, or is not run in the big series at all. sitting up there. That's pretty remarkable. Props to all the new guys who are showing their worth against the league regulars who have been in the league for a while. Again, McManus doesn't run the big cars. I don't think he runs them very often, if at all. But he has been in the league pretty much since the founding of it. And here we are. We're at 1 to green. We'll be going green with 60 laps complete. We're almost to halfway, everybody. We're almost to halfway. Just a quick rundown as we're going back around. 59 laps complete will be 60 at the line, which will be 28 of those laps under caution, 32 under green when we hit the green flag. We'll be at 65 laps to go, which means almost to the halfway point. And we've had 5 lead changes with Johnny Antonucci sitting out front as we're about to go green, with Mike Whitaker, Dave Daniel, Mike Erder, and Ronald McManus rounding out the top 5. Let's go, boy. Let's go racing, boys. Let's gonna focus it on Dave Daniel here with the broadcast camera set as we're going through 3 and 4 underneath the little bridge there. When is Johnny gonna push the pedal down?
Not going. 1 to go.
And it looks like, judging by the call there, they have called to delay the green flag by a couple laps. Excuse me, about 1 more lap. Because the lights will go back off as soon as they hit the line again. The space car hits. If I had to guess, yep, there you go. People had not caught back up to the field, and it would have created a very disastrous restart. They probably, I'll be honest, should be catching the pace car, and there they go. They're catching the pace car now. I will trust in Sam on making that call for us to stay under caution for one more lap. He has done a lot of race control for us in the past, and he would know when to make that call. So whatever the reason was, I will trust that it was definitely a good one to have us delay that by 1 lap. So here we go. When is Johnny Antonucci going to call the green flag himself here? As the pace car is it's underneath the tires, and there we go. We can hear him revving up as they come off turn 4 with 64 laps to go. Yeah, 64 laps to go. As we're on board with Dave Daniel here, he looks like he gets past Mike Whitaker going down to the corner. They were side by side going through 1 and 2 there, and Mike Whitaker has fallen back, unfortunately, to the 4th spot. Let's flip it back to the blimp, because that one looked like it gave a really good camera. Yeah, this one gives us a really good view of what's going on around the track here as we see these guys coming around through 3 and 4. Johnny Antonucci took the high side to let them take the lead. Nearly comes down on Mike Whitaker's nose there, but he's able to avoid it and get back to the outside line, as we see with Dave Daniel out there in the lead, and then Mike Erder in 2nd, Johnny Antonucci 3rd, and battling Mike Whitaker for 3rd. And it looks like, that's Robert Lacavara with Chris Parkman a couple cars back. We almost had contact again between Whitaker and Antonucci, and there's a wreck again. That looked like the 43 this time. Chase.
Trying to talk me.
So let's see what happens here. He goes down to the corner. 43 is right behind. We're just going to sit here and watch them going around the track here to see exactly what caused this wreck as they go down to 3 and 4. 43 gets in there and gets underneath, and 78 comes down onto the 43, not knowing he was there just that little bit. He might have to tell his spotter to let him know a little bit sooner than that when there's a car on his inside. So, just want to point out to everybody that we will have more caution flag laps than green flag laps when we go green. Not even in NIS at Bristol. At Bristol have I seen more caution flag laps than green flag laps. Which is scary. Because Bristol in the Cup cars, in the NASCAR Cup cars, is a wreck fest. Right now we're sitting at 31 and 34. We'll have a few more laps. And we'll have more caution flag laps than green. It's scary. My math might be off by one number. We might still have one more green flag lap than yellow flag laps. I just now realized that as I was thinking it over again. Still though, that's way too close. Good news is, we have passed halfway. We are at 60 laps to go. Lights are still on the pace car, so it might be a couple more before we go green. We're on the home stretch, boys. For the record, they still have to pit 2 more times. Anybody who just pit under this caution still has 2 more pit stops to make. We have a few people that are going to try and stretch it a little bit longer and make it on 1 more. But I'm going off the math of what the game told me, which was about 25 to 28 laps. Was what I was noticing was seeming to be the fuel run for all green flag laps. Now, considering most of the time with how many caution flag laps we've had so far in this race, some of them might be able to make it on just 1 more stop. They just pit if we continue to have this many. So it's just a wait and see at this point. We now have less than an hour left to finish this race. Let's hope we get it done. As we hit the 1 to green, so I'm going to go ahead and hide this race summary now. As we go green, Dave Daniel, Mike Erter, Mike Whitaker, Robert Lucavar, and Cohen Evans will round out the top 5 with Chris Parkman, Ethan Glenn, James Catana. Damn it, I'm getting lost. Sorry, James Katina, Steve Thomas, and Johnny Antonucci rounding out the top 10. Alex Green is back on the lead lap, by the way, so good job to him. And after he was 2 laps down, he's now back on the lead lap. He's not the only one. We have. No, he is the only one who has gotten more than 1 lap back to get back to the lead lap. So as we come around the track here, this is going to be an interesting start. Let's see when Dave Daniel plans his restart, and Mike Erter cannot time his jump too early, and he doesn't time it at all. Mike Whitaker jumps perfectly with Dave Daniel and keeps right up on his rear bumper as they get going and they hit the start-finish line. He is right there with him. Mike Whitaker looking to the outside as they go into the corner, but thinks again on that and goes back down to the inside and realizes it's probably better to not make a move just yet and try and have some good green flag racing. As we see these guys starting to bunch back up already as we go down in, and if you notice, the right front wing on that 43 is all kinds of messed up. I'm surprised he's able to keep that thing driving straight at 150 miles an hour, and it looks like it is affecting him. As you can see, Chris Parkman jumps to his outside as he's right now behind Cohen Evans in the 14 right there in front of him. As you see Ethan Glenn battling Mike Erter on the outside. Mike Erter is falling backwards now with, it looks like Chris Parkman's right behind him there, and I'm still surprised at how well that 43 is driving. He is just driving the hell out of that thing with that wing messed up the way it is. As we can see them coming around the corner, coming off turn 4 as we hit lap 70 now of 125. And look at all the cars in the picture. And whoa, that's a big dive down by Chris Parkman. He rethinks and he realizes that was a bad move. He did get some contact. As you see, his wing on the front was damaged. Good evasion by everybody to avoid a wreck there. Hopefully he's able to limp it back around enough. And he's still going. He's keeping it going straight. He's going to keep going with that damage. It looks like that right front wing damage is not affecting these cars as much as you would expect them to. Going 150 miles an hour. And his aero dependent as these things are. I mean, these things will draft up on each other. And there's Alex Green, as you can see, passing to the inside of David Gervais back behind there. And there's Johnny Antonucci, Chris Parkman in the back, battling side by side. We have a really good battle near the back. The fact, no, Alex Green gets tapped from the back as he went loose and went up the track. I'm going to be honest, that looked like that was Alex Green's fault on that one. But let's go and let's watch that one again. So as you can see, man, everybody's kind of messed up now. Go down into the corner. He's running really well here. He's running really well. He gets to the inside of the 3, who is David Gervais. And then it's going around. They hit start finish on. I think this is right where he messed up. You hear him let off. He gets up the track a little bit and gets tapped and then smacked in the front. And then somebody just ramped over him. Did he keep it going, though? That's the question. Does he keep going? Well, it looks like he's having some connection issues, but he does keep it driving straight. It looks like everybody kept it driving straight, which is pretty remarkable. I'll give props to everybody. He tried to get a little bit too much out of it, and it just suddenly turned on him. But he's able to drive it. I mean, he can get it back to pit road. He'll be set. Don't know if he has enough repairs left, but man, that was a pretty scary looking wreck when someone just drove up the front of his car. As we just saw almost everybody take a dive on the pit road. We have 3 cars it looks like stayed out. Everybody else has hit pit road. And for some reason I have my pit guy. For some reason my lollipop man is loaded in there as you saw him standing on the pit road. Sorry, I cued my mic by accident when I was coughing. So looking at this, James Scatina, Stephen Thomas, and Ron McManus have all been out there for 16, 15, and 10 laps respectively. The 22 for 16, the 62 for 15, and the 78 for 10. What this means is if these guys can stretch that fuel, we're just a little more than 50 laps to go, they would have to stretch that fuel another, 20 laps to make it on one more pit stop. So they're definitely going to have to make 2 more pit stops where they sit right now, unless we have a caution fest continue to the rest of the race. It looks like Alex Green has bowed out of this race, so unfortunately for him, that's the end of his night. After that wreck, he got back to lead lap, and then one slight mistake going into a corner, and everything went to hell, it looked like. So as we see it, seriously, I'm not used to talking this much. And I see in the chat that Tyler Vickery has had to back out as well because of an incident on pit road. If he just make sure, I just want to warn, don't flame in chat because that is still flaming for league rules, and it will be submitted to the competition committee and anybody else, well, whoever runs the Mazda rulings, which I believe is just Alex. So just a reminder to be careful in the chat of flaming there too, because that does count in the rules for the league. So I believe we're at 2 to go right now as we see these guys, and everybody from 3rd on back that are the lead lap cars have pit this time by. So out of the 13 lead lap cars, 10 of them pit, 4th to 13th. First through 3rd did not, with of course James Scatina being out there for 17 laps, coming to 18 laps completed. Stephen Thomas at 16, going to 17, and Ron McManus at 11, going to 12. So these guys are definitely pushing that fuel tank as far as they can, but they unfortunately probably won't be able to, most likely won't be able to stretch it enough. Anybody who pit just now will definitely be able to make it from here on one more pit stop as we hit 1 to green. We see them lining up double file. I'm going to switch it back to the blimp cam. Gonna be honest, I don't think he beat the pace car off. I'm surprised it's letting him go around. I wasn't saying you were flaming. I was just saying a reminder because it has been brought up in the past for multiple drivers, myself being one of them. So I just wanted to put that out there so that anybody else who happens to be watching who was in the race and is watching now about that. So, and there you go. Yep, he did not beat him out. He had to let them all go by. He did get penalty. Did get the black flag for that. as we see him coming around the corner. Wow, the blimp is not giving a good view. Pace car is there, and it looks like he's going to dive down in just a couple seconds. There he goes. So when is Katina going to pull the trigger? And wow, he is waiting. He is waiting in the wow. And there he goes. Wow, he timed that in the wrong way. You do not want to get out to that big of a lead because those guys are just going to catch you like crazy. As we see them driving around, we see them running side by side back there in the back. And this is going to be exciting. Let's hope that these guys can get some clean laps in because we want to see some really good green flag running, green flag racing here. And we'll sit back here and watch these guys as we watch the tie-dye and the red, white, and blue cars going side by side. Interesting. As you see, Ronald McManus, Mike Whitaker. That is Cohen Evans in the red, white, and blue. Chris Parkman to his inside right now with the 43 of Ethan Glenn underneath him now. Wow, they're just... See, that's the train that happens. You see Johnny Antonucci back there fighting Mike Erter as these guys are catching the leaders up here at the front end. The leaders have been caught. So we are now back to a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 cars. All 13 lead lap cars are right here together now. This picture you see right here is all 13 lead lap cars together as they're racing around the track. So we get to see if any of the lead lap cars make a mistake. We will see it because they're almost all on screen. Let's see if this will keep them all on screen. As we see some of the lap down cars are even getting into the picture now as well. At the line, we will be at 45 laps to go as we are on lap 80 right now, coming to 81, and we are about to have another wreck, and there it is. Gonna be honest, I was hoping for a second there that they'd be able to save that one and pull that one out. But let's see exactly what happens here as they're coming around the track here. They're coming off turn 4. David Llewellyn sneaking into the picture behind Gervais here. I probably went back a little too far to compensate for the fact that I was going to be messing with some of the settings to get it on the right car and camera. But here we are off 2. I believe this will be it right here as they're going down into turn 3. Yep, we just had a bump there, and yeah, there was just that slight bump because there was a little bit of a checkup and just didn't end well for a lot of the cars. With the way that one went, I know that someone is going to have to be found at fault for that because it was a driver's fault. I don't think in that case it is David Gervais's fault because the fault of David Gervais because he was reacting to what happened in front of him and David Llewellyn wasn't able to react in time. So I think it was just a chain reaction. I think that personally was just a racing incident. I know that Race Control will probably see it different, might even see it differently, but that's what I saw. I don't know about you guys on the stream, on the broadcast, but yeah, that's just what I saw. I saw just a racing incident where there was a let up and there was just no time to react by a couple of the drivers and just went the wrong way. James Katina stays out there, but it looks like our two guys, Ronald McManus and Cohen Evans, are down on pit road now. I'm impressed that James Katina is staying out because he is just now completed at the line there 25 laps on the fuel run, so he's definitely going to be getting close to running on fumes. As we hit 1 to green here, we will be going green with 41 laps to go. Hitting lap 85 as we see James Scatina, Chris Parkman, Ethan Glenn, Cohen Evans, and Drew Giancarlo. No, that's Mike Erder in 5th. With Drew Giancarlo, Dave Daniel, Mike Whitaker, Johnny Antonucci, and Robert Lacovara wrapping out the top 10. Here we go, about to go green again for one more time, for yet another time. I can't say one more time because there'll be more, most likely the way they've been tonight. Here we go. When is he going to pull the trigger this time? Is he going to do that long wait again with Chris Parkman on the outside? And he does, but Chris Parkman gets a good jump on it. Definitely knew when he was going to go that time and is able to get a better jump than anybody I think has had on that 22 tonight when he's been able to call the start. As we see the front 5 just kind of single file. It looks like they're going to mostly go single file until we get bunched up again. Then they'll start getting side by side again. It looks like Parkman is doing a really good job with that bent up wing. It must not be affecting the cars very much when that wing gets damaged, because he's not the only one that's been doing that. Even though you can see it does seem to slow him down just a tiny bit, but he is actually doing really well going into turn 1 there, but then loses everything going into the corners. If these corners were a little bit more broad, kind of like Daytona or Talladega, he probably would have maintained his position on the outside. But because of how long and arcing they are, I guess actually doesn't matter because of the way that these cars are flooring it on the bottom. It needs to be one where the inside has to lit up, but the outside can stay floored for him to maintain up there. Just see them running around the track here. They're doing pretty good so far on this run, but we can see where there might be some issues coming down the line in a little bit. As Chris Parkman has fallen way back when he tried to make that move on the outside, got a little aggressive, and he's trapped Cohen Evans right behind him on the outside, and Johnny Antonucci running a little high coming off the corner there going down the backstretch, which is really dangerous considering how often that's caused wrecks tonight. Hopefully he's able to keep control of it well enough that it doesn't cause an issue. As we're going to move back here a little bit because this is where the racing is. It looks like the front guys are they're content to just run it out right now. As everyone knows, James Scatina is going to have to pit sometime soon because he's now on 31 laps on that fuel tank, hitting 32 at the start-finish line this time by. I can guarantee it, probably banking on a caution to fall sometime soon because he will need a couple more cautions probably to make it to the end. Don't know how much he has left in that tank, but I know he has to be running bears sometime soon. We see Ethan Glenn's looking to the outside, but he doesn't actually go up there because he's not giving enough room for Mike Erder to get to his inside and trap him to the outside like what happened to Parkman, as you see is still falling backwards. Slight checkup on the inside there, but everyone is able to make the right adjustments on their pedals and steering to keep out of the way of that. Parkman goes to the inside, goes back to the outside of Antonucci because he had such a run because Antonucci had to let off a little bit for some reason, and he gets clear of Antonucci. He could have dove down, but he's going to keep going on the outside. He's getting close to Mike Whitaker there, trying to keep the thing tight and just wound up going through the corners. He's doing a really good job of fighting back through the field, as we have James Scatina is now at 30. Scatina is at 34 laps, 35 at the line, with Ethan Glenn and Mike Erder at 19 laps at the start-finish line there on their fuel runs. So everybody's going to have to make one more stop at least. Scatina, the way he's at, he has to make that fuel tank stretch just a few more laps, and then he could go to the end of the race with one more pit stop. And there he goes. He's dipping down now. He might not be able to make it to the end of the race unless we have a lot of cautions. And there is a caution, so he got a lucky break because he had not made it to pit road yet. So let's see what happens from David Gervais's point of view here as we're going through the corner through 3 and 4. I believe it's going to be the next lap. Yeah, we see some stuff shuffle. We see some people shuffling up there because we know it was in 3 and 4. And I knew I went back a little too far, but it's better to be too far back though. As we're going around, he gets a good run, goes into the middle, and he gets up into Mike Baker. Nothing happens. They get into each other again, and then his car just spins. Weird. That, I'm going to be honest, that was a really bizarre instance, and I'm surprised Katina still went down pit road. He could have stayed out at that point. It looked like he might have cost himself this race because of that. Well, right now we have Ethan Glenn in the lead with Mike Erder, Dave Daniel, Mike Whitaker, and Cohen Evans are running out the top 5. But I guarantee you, Ethan Glenn, Mike Erder, and Cohen Evans each have to make one more pit stop because they've been out there right now for 21 laps, and we still have 31 to go as they stand right now. So there's no way they're going to stretch this field to 52 laps. I doubt it. Even with a few more cautions, they would still have to pit. Dave Daniel and Mike Whitaker sitting in 3rd and 4th respectively. They might be able to make it to the end if there were enough cautions because they're at 13 laps as is. Robert Lucavar and Ronald McManus, who are in 6th and 7th. The first car to go down pit road this time is Chris Parkman, who is in 8th place. Excuse me. With, of course, with Johnny Antonucci, James Katina as well, as Katina is getting flushed back to the back of the lead lap cars.
There we go. Basically,
I hit the wrong button and it automatically activated in-game chat. Yeah, so we're at 1 to green now. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the race summary. Blimp has proven to be a really good camera for us. And we are going to be going green, it looks like, with 28 laps to go. It is possible that anybody who pit under this caution actually might be able to make it to the end. They would just need at least one more caution to help stretch out that fuel to be completely certain. Granted, I never did run a full fuel run in practice, so I don't know the full extent of the green flag fuel tank. So here we go. Top 5, Ethan Glenn, Mike Erder, Dave Daniel, Mike Whitaker, Cohen Evans. As they're coming around turn 4 here, when is Ethan Glenn going to hit the pedal? And here we go. There he goes. You can see the jump he got as we go green with 28 laps to go. As they go around, you can see Mike Erder and Dave Daniel battling it out there. Mike Erder, though, getting on that out, he always seems to restart on that outside line, and it hurts him. But once he's able to get to the inside, he's able to fight his way back up because people are just making mistakes. Give him that open line. So Mike Whitaker battling two people at once here because he's got one at his rear wheel and one at his front wheel. As Ethan Glenn not really having to battle with Dave Daniel very much. Dave Daniel is just being kind of patient, just kind of sitting back there a safe distance away from him, waiting for the chance to pounce maybe. But we do know that there are 3 more cars that have to pit. Dave Daniel, Mike Whitaker, and Robert Lacavara all will have to pit because they're at 18 laps on their fuel run so far. So watch him dive down in turn 3 there. You saw Mike Whitaker got a little bit tight, probably didn't enter in the way he meant to, and it didn't react well with his car, but everybody kept it going straight. There was no contact, and everything is good so far. Definitely seems at this point of the race everybody's kind of deciding maybe we should be a little bit more patient, and never mind on that. We saw it get really close there going into 3. And almost saw some contact there as we see Cohen Evans and Mike Whitaker side by side, with Cohen Evans getting right up on the bumper of Mike Erder, and he's doing exactly what you're supposed to do. You push without actually making contact. It does a really good job if you're able to do it just right. You can see how well it's pushing Mike Erder back up to the front because he's getting that push from Cohen Evans without actual contact push. He's just pushing him through the air, giving him that little boost that he needs. And you can see Ethan Glenn kind of rising up off the track a little bit to kind of make sure that Mike Erder can't easily get to his outside, but not giving up the inside quite so easily either. So see, he's moving up a little bit. He's giving up the inside. So if Dave Daniel gets close enough to Ethan Glenn going down one of the straightaways, Ethan Glenn's giving up enough of the inside that he can dive down there and get to the inside and force the issue, which probably don't want to do until later on in this run. Let's see what they do coming down the backstretch here. As you can see, he gets tight. Glenn does it again. He gives that little bit of room to the inside. But Dave Daniel just did not have the run going down the back straightaway, and we have an issue. It looks like that is with Cohen Evans. He had some kind of issue. I didn't catch it. But we're going to keep on the live action here because this is where everything is at. This is where the races are happening. And man, there are a lot of tight ones when these guys race green. Wow, that was a tight fit. I don't know how he got that in there. That was Drew Ganacarli. Probably pronounced that wrong. I apologize, but he just fit that in there, and it didn't look like he had any room. As we see Mike Erder still forcing on that side, and oh, they had a little bit of contact, but everyone keeps it going straight. Good job on that one to everybody. As we have 20 laps to go, and we're coming around. It'll be 19 laps left around this track, 19 more miles. As we hit the start-finish line right now, we are. Oh no, we're on the back straightaway. Whoopsie. Ooh, shows how much I'm paying attention. And yep, there is. We have people going down pit road now. Mike Erder, what happened to Mike Erder? Did Mike Erder just run out of fuel? I think no. Yeah, Mike Erder just ran out of gas on the back straightaway, and I think we just had a caution because of contact with the wall. So yeah, he did. Yeah, his car is completely out. You can hear it on the car. It's just sputtering, sputtering, sputtering. And I think someone probably got into his. Yep, someone got into him, and he just smacks the wall. Yeah, he ran out of gas right in the middle of the field, not paying attention to his fuel, as you saw that Ethan Glenn was, and he dove down to get down to pit road because he knew he was about to run out. So good on him to avoid it, but unfortunately, that was not a good end for a couple other people. So I'm gonna be honest here. That was an impressive run. That's the kind of runs we needed to see all night long. A little bit longer than that would have been nice, but I'm gonna be honest. That was a really good run we had there. We could have seen a little bit more, but considering that was someone running out of fuel. I'm going to be honest, that was most likely going to be put on Mike Erder, because he should have been paying attention to his fuel tank. He should have known he was about to run out. Now, if he was calling that he was about to run out and they weren't letting him get to the inside, then it isn't his fault. I would be honest. I would not put the blame on him at that point. But if he wasn't saying anything about being low on fuel, if he wasn't saying anything, that's all on him on that one. As we see a bunch of people go down pit road, we have Stephen W. Thomas, Drew Ganicarli, Chris Parkman, Ron McManus all stay out. Stephen Thomas has 14 laps on his tank, Drew Ganicarli 15, Chris Parkman 12, and Ron McManus 14. So out of all of those drivers, the one with the best chance to make it to the end is Christopher Parkman, because he's only been out there for 12 on that tank of gas, so we know for a fact he'll be able to make it to the end. If I had to make a guess, we're at 2 to green. We are at 16 laps to go. I know that for a fact. We're at 16 to go. So hopefully everything's going to go smoothly here at the end. If a caution, I can say this for a fact, if a caution comes out, I know with 5 laps or less, it'll end under caution. 6 laps, we might have a 1-lap shootout. 5 laps, it is possible to have a 1-lap shootout, but I've rarely ever seen it actually happen. People tend to not get caught up to the pace car in time for it to let it only be a 4-lap caution. At tracks where it can easily be a 5-lap caution if it's not done right. Alright, here we go, boys and girls. Getting ready to go green one more time. There might be another one. We don't know. So the focus is on Chris Parkman, who is in 3rd place, the second car on the inside line there. And as you can see, the leader is Stephen Thomas with Drew Ganicarli in that blue and yellow car, who is supposed to be up there beside the leader. I don't know why he's hanging back like that. That is actually something that race control is supposed to penalize if he does that too much. And I'll be honest, if I was race control, even where he's at right now, I would be penalizing him because he's hanging back too far. He's hanging back a full car length. And there goes the leader, Stephen Thomas, and didn't help him. But still, you're not supposed to hang back that far by our league rules. As they go green, and here we go. Let's see if these guys can make it to at least 5 to go before caution. And almost no, Ganicarli just came right down. Now we have a lap of cars. That's Michael Baker. Don't know what's going on with him. Don't know what happened there. He might be out of gas. No, he was just coming off pit road. That's what was happening. So that was Mike Baker, I believe. He was just coming off pit road, and it happened to coincide with the restart. But he got to the outside really quick so that everyone could get around him. And while he got up to speed, as we see Ethan Glenn there coming off of pit road. Don't know why he's just now coming off pit road. He wasn't involved in the wreck. Chris Barnman getting really close to Thomas up there for the lead. So we see him coming around 3-4. And oh, that was a deadly wreck. Deadly. So let's see what happens between Whitaker and Gunn and Carly here as they're coming around the track. Whitaker's sitting on the inside line, and they're coming around through 1 and 2. Gunn and Carly is not giving him any room at all. I wouldn't be surprised if he came down into him. And that, I would be honest, I think he's caused about 4 cautions. He's been involved in a lot tonight. They're coming through 3 and 4. He's giving plenty of room, and then he just comes down into the right rear tire of Mike Whitaker. I believe that will be the one that will cause Gunn and Carly to have to sit out. But don't quote me on that one because I don't know if he has been credited with another caution. And it does look like he has been parked. His name just went gray on the sheet. So it does look like his night has been ended because of that caution. And right now our top 5 as we sit pacing around the track: Stephen Thomas in first, Chris Parkman in second, Dave Daniel, Johnny Antonucci, Robert Lacavar rounding out the top 5. Stephen Thomas, he's at 20 laps on his stint. He only has to stretch it out another 11 laps to 31. He can possibly make it with how many caution laps we've ran since he pit. Chris Parkman, 18 laps on his tank of fuel. He can probably make it with where we are now. As a matter of fact, I'm 99% certain Parkman can make it to the end. Ronald McManus in 7th is also at 20 laps on his tank. But he is pretty far back there now. He still has a chance to win it, but he is the car behind the Red Bull in front of the green and white back there on the screen. Dave Daniel, Johnny Antonucci, Robert Lacavar, and James Katina, who are 3rd through 6th, have all been out there. Have only been on their fuel run for 6 laps. So we know that basically if Chris Parkman makes it to the end, we know everybody else is going to make it to the end. Granted, we know everybody else is going to make it to the end because there's not enough laps to add up to a full green flag run anyway. As rounding out the rest of the top 10, I guess I should say, is James Katina in 6th, Ronald McManus in 7th, Jose Olivas at 8th, Cohen Evans in 9th, and Ethan Glenn in 10th. Once again, I want to thank everybody who has stuck through this Caution Festival race. This is my first time being back out on the doing a broadcast again in about 2.5, almost 3 months, I want to say. Thanks to work causing issues with me not being able to do this. Definitely not what I wanted to see on my first time back doing the broadcast again. But it definitely could have been a whole lot worse. We could have gone 1 lap and then a caution, and then 1 lap and then a caution. So at least we haven't had that. We still have the chance to finish on the green. Oh, excuse me. Right now we're at 10 to go. We're coming to 9 to go. So if we get the 1 to green here, it'll be an 8-lap shootout to the end. If a caution falls within the first couple laps, we'll definitely have another restart. If it's within the first 3, if it happens after 3 laps, maybe it'll be close. But once we hit the 5 to go, it's kind of hit or miss on if it's actually going to happen or not. And it looks like, yeah, we're doubling up. So we are about to go green here, and we will go green with 8 laps. Man, I just said it and I already forgot. 8 laps to go in this race. Gonna put the camera on Chris Parkman here on the blimp. Let's actually put it on the chopper for this one. So as we see them coming through the back straightaway here, we can see them all getting lined up. Everyone's getting ready. They know that this is probably going to be it, the last restart that we'll probably have of this race. Don't know what's going on with my computer right now. I do apologize. Okay, I turned off my Xbox and everything evened out. And here we go green. It is 8 laps to go in this race as we see Stephen Thomas jump out to a start with Chris Parkman not letting him get too far out, but not getting the normal jump he gets on these restarts, with Dave Daniel right behind him. He is keeping close, and as we go through 1 and 2, we can see that Chris Parkman is going to get right up on him. He's going to put pressure. He knows how to do it, as he is the winningest driver. And there's another wreck. I can hear it happening. Watching from Jose's cam here as they go down into the corner. He gets to the outside of Bob Lacavara. They're going through 1 and 2. Everything looks clean so far. We head down into turn 3. There's a little contact between Jose and Bob, and then that's when the wreck breaks out. And then of course the connection goes down on that one. I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna have to give that one to Jose on that. I think he came down into Bob. Bob was hugging that inside line pretty tightly. We just might get an old-fashioned green-white checkered here, folks. As we're at 7 to go. Well, it's going to be a little bit more than that. A little bit more than 2 to go. But this will be our final restart. After this, there will be no more restarts. And let's pull up the race summary one more time. After 119 laps, we have had 10 lead changes, which is a lot more than the last time we did this. 15 cautions for 53 laps, which is a lot better than it was earlier in the race when we ran 41 of I think 83. It was almost 50% of the laps. Now we're a little bit less than that. I mean, it's still way too many cautions, but better than where we were as far as percentage of laps run being under green compared to caution. But this is basically going to be it. It's only going to be at a most 16 cautions, which, if I recall, will probably end up being a league record. I think it already is an ISL record number of cautions. But our running order as we stand, let's pull that up. We have Stephen Thomas in first with Chris Parkman in second. Dave Daniel, Johnny Antonucci, James Scatino rounding out the top 5 with Ronald McManus. Cohen Evans rounding out the top 7, making up our lead lap cars for the final restart here. Ethan Glenn, Robert Lacavara, and Jose Olivas rounding out the top 10, but they're all 1 lap down, so they will not be able to win this race because the only way they'll get their lap back, or laps, because it looks like a couple of them are still on pit road, it's going to unfortunately require a lot of luck, and they would most likely need a caution. As you've noticed, the ticker has changed and now says 5 laps to go. It is actually counting down now that we have hit the final 5 laps of this race. Chris Parkman, as I said earlier, and I'm not, he is the driver with the most wins in our RO5 season series. Unfortunately, he had to withdraw from playoff contention last season because of personal reasons. But he would have cruised into the playoffs with an amazing number of victories, and if I recall, he was the points leader after the Dover race. After the drop weeks were counted, out of 20 races, we had 5 drop weeks, so that only your 15 best races counted, and I think he had the points lead by almost a full race, which in that series is 40 points. So it's remarkable that he had such an advantage. And it shows why he's good in those cars. We go 4 laps to go. The lights are off. We will be going green with 3 laps remaining. This is going to be it. This will be the finale here. Let's. We're going to go back to our regular broadcast camera for this ending here. I'm not sure if y'all noticed, but Ethan Glenn back there is unfortunately blinking. Hopefully He's able to stay out of the way when we get going here. Let's see if Stephen Thomas will have enough fuel saved up. He will have to run it to 30 laps, which I'm going to be honest, I think he has enough to do that. Excuse me, 31 laps, which with as many caution laps as we have, he should have enough to run it to the end here. He might start sputtering, which could cause an issue. But here we go. When is he going to pull the trigger as we come off turn 4? There he goes, and Chris Parkman gets a good jump as well. But it looks like Dave Daniel got to Chris Parkman's inside, and yes, he did as they go down into turn 1. Parkman's trying to hold on strong, but he knows what that outside is going to do. And Johnny Antonucci is now in 3rd place, taking it from Parkman as they go around the track. And it looks like Stephen Thomas might have this if he can hold it down to the inside line. Johnny Antonucci jumps to the outside of Dave Daniel going into turn 3, but it bites him. But he's able to bring it back down, oddly enough. Thought Scatino was going to be able to get underneath of him there as we go around. We're now at 2 laps remaining as they're going around. Johnny trying to get that outside line to work on Dave Daniel, but it's just not helping. If you notice, they're kind of dipping down to that apron, trying to get to the inside line. So coming around the track, we see Dave Daniel just keeping it. Chris Parkman is doing a really good job on that outside line, staying with these guys as they come around. This is the white flag lap as we see them coming around. Who is that way up there on the outside? Wow. And there's a wreck, there's a spin. Oh, is he going to hold it? Is he going to hold it? Scatina, he's spinning on the apron. He's able to keep it. We are still green. They are still going. And there's the wreck. Ooh. And it looks like Stephen Thomas is going to have the win, as he is now going to cruise all the way around. He will take the victory with Cohen Evans in 2nd. Ronald McManus looks like he might get... No, wait. My thing is freaking out right now. I don't know who's in 3rd. It says Dave Daniel now. I'm going to be honest, I don't know who's who right now. I'm waiting for it to all iron out. Let's go back and let's watch that replay. Let's put it on Chris Parkman's camera as we go down into turn 1 here. He's on the outside of Dave Daniel. He comes down just a little bit, and we see Johnny Antonucci on his inside. Antonucci comes up, coming off the corner, right into him, and then they both spin. That was a physics break by iRacing, because I'm pretty sure these cars would not do that, and it looks like it gathered up about half the field in the wreck. But what a fitting way to the race for it to finish with a wreck happening on the last lap after there being wrecks throughout the whole thing. 15 cautions. It's still finished technically under green. And it looks like Parkman, yeah, he would limp it around. He would force it to get back to the start-finish line and finish the race. Props to Parkman on that, showing that he probably would have Ricky Bobbied it if iRacing would let him get out of the car and run the rest of the distance. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the menu up in-game so that we can take a look at the standings that the game says, because I don't think the standings here are telling me the right thing that you see at the top. So, according to the standings, it was correct. Stephen Thomas, Cohen Evans, Chris Parkman, James Scatina, and Ronald McManus are your top 5, with Dave Daniel, Johnny Antonucci, Ethan Glenn, Mike Ritter, and Robert Lacovara wrapping out the top 10, with only 5 cars finishing on the top 5 because of that wreck. Congratulations to Stephen Thomas for the victory tonight. Cohen Evans, good job on the 2nd place, and Parkman for limping that thing around to get that 3rd place finish. There's our winner's car for tonight. Thank you everybody for coming out. Let's take a look at some of the information we had for tonight's race. Of course, for the whole race, 125 laps. We had, in the end, 15 cautions since the yellow flag did not fly on that big wreck on the backstretch on the last lap, for 61 total laps. So in the end, we had 64 green flag laps to 61 yellow flag laps. In the end, I will actually say, when the green flag laps were going like they were consistent. When we had several green flag laps back to back to back, it was a really good race. It was really fun to watch. But because of how impatient they were being with some of their moves, it made it very frustrating as a fan of racing. And being a broadcast booth, because there was no one up here with me, it made me even more frustrated because I've never talked for this long in my life by myself. I normally have someone to bounce stuff off to. I normally have moments where I can just be silent for about 15-20 minutes at a time. This, I was able to maybe have 5 minutes at the most, where I would take one caution to just kind of let my throat settle. Let's see if there's anybody in TeamSpeak that we might be able to pull up and have an interview with. No, don't see anyone in TeamSpeak to interview, so thank you guys for not anybody ever in the top 3 at least. So I'll go ahead and bid you guys adieu. Thank you for tuning in. We will be back live on Sunday night for the DW12 series at Daytona International Speedway, where they will start their second season, because last season was their inaugural one, that series inaugural one. It was season 3 for the IRO5s on Tuesday night, but Sunday night will be the second season for the DW12s, which I believe you might be seeing a different annotation for the seasons, where it'll be I believe we're going to be calling it either Season 2 2017 Season 2 or Season 2 2017, so that the off numbering doesn't get confusing. 100 laps, just like Tuesday night was. It'll be at 8. The broadcast should be going live around 8:20 p.m. It might be a little bit after that, depending on if everything's able to get going with the broadcast booth, getting Tony some help up there on Sunday night. But about 8:20 p.m. Eastern United States time is when it's supposed to be up and live, just like it's 8:50 on Tuesdays and Thursdays like tonight. So just keep an eye out on our Facebook page and our Twitter. We'll have all the information there for anybody who wants to know when the broadcast time will be. Thank y'all for watching. We hope to see y'all Sunday night for some more action around the fast Daytona.